Today we'll be learning about multiplying a whole number by a decimal. Our objective today is we will be able to explain how to multiply a whole number by a decimal by using decimal grids and the standard algorithm. Here's our I do. Jalen goes to the corner store. He wants to buy 3 bottles of Lucas. Each of the bottles costs 55 cents. What is the least amount of money that Jalen needs in order to buy the Lucas? Well, when we think of 55 cents, we think of $1 as the whole. So we can use decimal grids to represent that $1 because there are 100 squares on a decimal grid. He has 55 cents out of 100. 55 cents can also be written as 55 hundredths. So he has 55 hundredths of $1. Well, he wants to buy 3 bottles of Lucas, and each bottle costs 55 cents. So I'm going to add another decimal grid to show the third bottle of Lucas. So now we have 3 decimal grids to show that it has 100, which is the dollar, or the whole. And I'm going to shade in each decimal grid to show that he has 55 hundredths of the whole. So let me go ahead and, so I know that half of a decimal grid is 50. So I'm just going to shade in 50 first. So I'm shading that in. So this is 50 hundredths or 50 cents. So I'm going to do the same thing for each one. Draw a line. Going down. Same thing over here. And that's 50 cents. Well, because I know that half of one decimal grid is 50 cents, I can see that he has 2 halves, which makes one whole decimal grid, which in money terms is $1. So he has 50 plus 50 plus 50 is $1.50. So we know that he at least needs $1.50. Well, each one is 55 cents. So I'm going to go in and shade in 5. Shade that in. Shade that in so you can see it a little better. So then I'll go over here and add plus 5 cents, plus 5 cents, or let me do it like this. Put my 0 here. plus 5 cents. So we know that we're just saying that it's half of a decimal grid. We knew that he needed at least $1.50. So if we're adding 15 cents, we know that it's going to cost, cost $1.65. So the least amount that he needs is $1.65 to buy the Lucas. So let's move on to the standard algorithm. Here's the same problem, but we're not going to use the decimal grids. So Jalen goes to the corner store. He wants to buy 3 bottles of Lucas. Each of the bottles costs 55 cents. What is the least amount of money that Jalen needs to buy? So let's use our standard algorithm, which we know that we're multiplying because each decimal grid repeated 3 times. Get my pen to go. So 5,500 times 3. And you're probably saying, well, how can we multiply that whole number times the decimal? Well, in our problem, we basically decomposed the problem. This pen. So what we do is go ahead and I'm going to divide this. Oops. Where's my eraser? 55 times 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 3 is 15, and one more is 16. Well, we can multiply these decimals just like a whole number. Well, what happens is, because there's a decimal in one of the numbers, we have to represent that decimal in our answer. So 165, make that 5 a little better. There's two digits behind the decimal point in the answer, so there has to be 2 digits behind the decimal point. In the problem, there has to be 2 digits behind the decimal point in the answer. So once you have finished viewing this video, you're going to get into your groups and you're going to complete the flow chart. You're going to choose a method. Our objective today was to use the decimal grids to multiply a whole number times the decimal and to use the standard algorithm. So what I want you all to do is to get into your groups and choose a method. There has to be at least 2 people from each group working and showing each method. And after you all have finished your flow charts, we'll come back together as a class and then we'll discuss what we learned about multiplying decimals times a whole number using the standard algorithm as well as the models.